Hello, my name is Michael Smith, and it is my joy for the next 8 weeks to share this time with you and talking about history and what a great country we have and the things that have been our foundation. This week we're talking about Western civilization, and I imagine this course is as old as college itself, but it has found increased importance up to at least the postmodern era. I remember in my undergraduate years at Clemson that the emphasis on globalization was beginning to take effect. And with that came some serious questions about the value of Western civilization as being too white, too male, too Christian, in light of all the changes that were going on in the world, and in particular in our understanding of history and its effects on what we do. The drive to cancel any history that is objectionable today is our modern version of that as we continue this discussion. I have taught Western civilization for 30 plus years, and I can understand some of the issues that are presented in an increasingly interconnected world. I've also taught the New World history, and I think some balance is helpful. After all, other histories like Islamic or Asian or Indian or African histories help to add some much needed perspective to our Western world. But at the same time, we don't just cancel the things that we disagree with, but we look back and we try to learn by them. I think we benefit from teaching the good, the bad, and the ugly of Western civilization and not give the appearance that we've always taken the correct path. I'm an advocate of Lawrence Berkin's What is Civilization that we've read this week, that maybe a more narrow definition is needed instead of the we are the world approach that we've often taken to our detriment through the years. We've often taken the British mantra that it is the white man's burden to civilize and to Christianize the world to extreme, and mainly transmitted more culture than religion, and much more of our white culture than we probably should have. I remember in the Philippines in the 80s, walking for 3 hours out in the jungle to preach to a tribe of those who had previously been headhunters. And it was interesting that after, when they showed up for the meeting, that the women came with blue jean skirts and a King James Bible on. And the only missionary influence they'd had was that particular fundamentalist Baptist influence. And that's what they taught them. They couldn't read a word of English, but they had to have a King James Bible. And of course, the blue jean skirts were the women's Wednesday night dress here in the States. And so they transmitted culture along with religion. They'd changed them from being headhunters, but they'd also turned them into being robots to whatever beliefs they'd had back stateside. So today we have a lot of micro histories, from race to gender, many others, and too often Western civilization has been very narrowly focused about how great white men shaped and won the world. And I think there does need to be some correction in that, but at the same time, we don't just throw out the baby with the bathwater. Having said that, Western civilization should be a discussion about the great ideas that have been such a dominating influence in our present world, but taken in conjunction with a greater understanding of the contribution of other cultures and other peoples and other events as well. Ours is certainly not the only perspective, but it does have value. And instead of simply erasing and canceling the parts where we failed, Western civilization should at least be a call to examine and to grow and to take the ideals that have brought us thus far and allowed them to be adopted for the next leg of the journey. In closing, I was at Clemson for my undergrad during the years when this started. I went back to Clemson in the beginning of the 2000s to finish my master's degree, and saw the flip side of this coin, this moving away from teaching Western civilization. And the engineering department, which Clemson's a huge engineering school, came back to the humanities and said, we've got to change something because our students can't write anything, and they can't do research, and they can't validate it. And what they came to understand was that these courses in Western civilization, which are basic general education courses, were teaching more than just a history, but they were also teaching people to write better, to research, and to interconnect the dots to explain and that to analyze and to come together to some understanding. And that played over into all the other fields that they were taking. And so what's happened in succeeding years is there's been a little bit of a swing back. The pendulum, globalization has recently gone away as the flavor of the month. And now we have an increasingly new perspective on Western civilization. And so we'll have to see in coming days where that will go and where that will end up. I look forward to your comments. My sources that I've supplied for you are along the same lines. And one in particular is interesting about the eschatological, the prophetic sense of Western civilization as a linear way of looking at history, and the prophetic sense in which the West has played into biblical apologetics and eschatological concerns. So I'd be interested to see what you think about that. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.